The topic of time travel interests both ordinary people and various scientists and researchers around the world. Throughout the history of mankind, some people have claimed that they have been in the future or the past, telling various events that their contemporaries will have to go through, or giving a detailed description of known historical facts. Over the past few years, several stories have appeared on the web of people who talked about how they visited the future or past time, from a person who told us what we should expect in the next 10 years to a traveler stuck in time. In this issue, we will tell you about the people who managed to make time travel. Let's go. There is one very well-known channel on which videos of people claiming to be time travelers are exhibited. One of the heroes of the channel was a man named Noah, who broke into the internet in the 2007 year, claiming that he was a time traveler from the 2030 year, stuck in the present tense, but repeatedly lit up on many YouTube channels, in which he gave various predictions, described the future. He said that time travel will be available to the public from 2028 year. He also said that technologies for time travel have already been discovered and developed, but so far it is kept secret. Since the 2017 year, there have been a lot of commercials in which Ono took part, and he passed a lie detector test, trying to prove the truthfulness of his story. In addition, Noah shows things brought supposedly from the future, and talks about what awaits us in the next 10 to 15 years. Among the things you can highlight books from the future and maps of the future of America. But he told a lot of interesting facts about the future of the USA, Great Britain, Canada, India and Russia. Despite the fact that Noah's story is hard to believe, it still deserves attention. He says that by the 2030 year, artificial intelligence owns the world, and cryptocurrency will become the main marketable currency, and therefore he recommends starting to make investments in this area of the future. Also, according to the time traveler, in 10 years the climate of North America will become warmer and milder, and the climate of Europe will become colder. Also, according to him, despite the low rating, trust among citizens, Donald Trump will be re-elected as President of the United States in the 2020, and after him, a certain 21-year-old Ilana Remicki will become president. Anyway, but statements remain controversial, since he did not provide any evidence. He claimed that he could not provide them because of the phenomenon of paradox, which would still not allow people to believe him. In any case, unlike other time travelers, well, he visited in the near future, so very soon we will be able to verify the authenticity of his statements and find out whether he is a banal charlatan or one of the first officially documented time travelers. Paul Dina. In 1921, a Swiss teacher named Paul Dina fell into a coma for a whole year. When he woke up, he began to keep a diary, but the teacher did not show his notes to anyone. For the first time, Dina's recordings were seen by one of his students, whom Paul asked to translate. The student discovered that Paul's extremely unusual notes described stories from the distant future. Paul claimed that while in a coma, he moved to the year 3906 and found himself in the body of physicist Andrew Northman, who, according to Paul, was also in a coma, but already in the distant future. According to the teacher, he and Andrew somehow switched bodies. While in Northman's body, the teacher began to study the world of the future. In his notes, he writes that Earthlings will completely colonize Mars by about the 23rd century. However, some cataclysm will wipe out about 20 million Earthlings from the face of Mars. Dina also writes that 100 years after that, a global world war will break out on Earth, which will destroy entire civilizations and cause enormous damage to the planet. An omnipotent global government will put an end to a large-scale war. In the 3382nd year, according to him, humanity will enter its last stage of evolution and peace will finally reign on Earth. It is worth noting that in the diary of Dina, exhaustive and detailed entries were given, which gives us the right to believe that the teacher believed in what he wrote. Surprisingly, Paul, apparently, did not want to share the notes with anyone from his entourage, and his student, by his will, became an exception. Paul's story gained popularity only after his student made a translation of the diary and published it in Greece in 1972 under the title Chronicles from the Future. Probably, if Paul had not shared the diary with the student, his story would have gone to the grave with him. Given that there are no entries for the 20th century in Paul's diary, it is difficult to verify the authenticity and accuracy of the events described by him. Therefore, our descendants can only wait to make sure that Paul really visited in the future. If it turns out that the teacher did not lie and his notes are reliable, then this story will become a real scientific sensation. William Taylor. The British William Taylor, whose video also recently appeared on the internet, claimed that he first moved from the 2005th to the 3000th year, and then 8973rd year, and only then he returned back to the present. He claimed to have worked for the British Intelligence Agency and had been sent into the future as part of a time travel experiment that the agency had been working on since 1981. First, the Briton went to the 3000th year. According to him, by this year people will stop walking and driving on the ground, instead they will move on aircraft. William says that in the 3000th year the Earth will be inhabited by skinny humanoids with huge heads. After that, William went to 8973, where, according to him, there are no more diseases, deaths, war and crime. According to him, in 70 centuries the Earth will be ruled by tall and slender humanoid robots with big heads and eyes. He added that by that time these cyborgs will also colonize other worlds. Taylor said that in the distant future, time travel will be treated quite normally. That's why none of those robots were surprised when he told them that he came from the past. Taylor also claimed that in his travels he met another time traveler from the year 2055. In addition, William provided some information about the proposed project of the British government, which is associated with time travel. He said that already in the 28th year, the technologies of a specific apparatus will be revealed to the public, with the help of which people will be able not only to travel in time and move between parallel universes. It is noteworthy that this information coincides with the words of Noah, who said that time travel will be available to the public from 2028 year. Anyway, so far the statements of the Briton look intriguing, but not convincing. Therefore, we and our descendants can only wait to see if his predictions will come true. Pellegrino Ernety. In the 2002 year, the French Catholic priest and writer François Brunet published a book called Chronoprojection Apparatus: The New Secret of the Vatican. In this book, he wrote the story of a Vatican monk and scientist named Pellegrino Ernety, who, according to Brun, together with a team of researchers designed a time machine called a chronovisor, a device that allows you to travel back in time to see historical events with your own eyes. The chronovisor works on the principle of processing residual electromagnetic radiation preserved from numerous processes of the past. After processing radio waves and electromagnetic radiation, the chronovisor recreates them based on past events in the present time. Thus, the observer can see how the events of the past unfolded in the present tense. According to Brun, Ernest Pilgrim used a chronovisor several times to witness certain historical events. So, according to the priest, with the help of this invention, Ernety visited the Opera Trieste, which made a real sensation in Rome in the 169th year BC, and also witnessed the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, which was created around the same time, that is, in the 60s and 70s of the last century. To date, there is no information about the chronovisor, and everything that is sold on the internet under the guise of this device is a fake. Critics and skeptics are sure that the story of François Brun is fictional or heavily embellished. However, many theorists believe the opposite. They believe that the story of the pilgrim Ernest and his inventions are real, since the Vatican is known for hiding various facts from the public. They believe the chronovisor could have been hidden from the public eye, and members of the Catholic Church still travel through time using this device. Bob White. In the 2003 year, programmer Dave Hill and Ziv received a lot of interesting messages, which, although they were marked as spam, were significantly different from the usual garbage mailings. The author of these messages was a certain Bob White, who claimed that he was a time traveler stuck in 2003. In his message, Bob offered the addressee to help him create a capacitor for converting time and dimensional deformation module with a generator and an induction motor. As it turned out, not only Dave Hill received such a newsletter, but many more people in the USA. Those people who agreed to help Bob find the necessary items were offered a reward of $5,000. Interested in the letter, Dave decided to reply to the time traveler, writing that he could get all the necessary equipment. From some sources, you can find out that Dave even sent Bob a package with an old motor that could serve as a generator for a time machine. Dave thought to the end that it was a prank and that Bob would answer him in a playful way by returning the package, but instead the time traveler thanked Dave for the equipment provided. When this story went viral, it was revealed that Bob White was actually a certain Robert Dino, a 20-year-old guy who, as it turned out, wanted to go to the future. In this case, it is difficult to say how many letters Todina himself sent and who he really was. However, his spam mailing list is definitely included in the list of the most unusual and original in the entire history of the internet. Vaguely noteworthy. That's all. Well, write in the comments, if you had the opportunity to travel in time, what year would you move to? If you were interested, then press the like button with all your might, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so as not to miss the new thermonuclear video tomorrow. Thanks for watching. And if you are a time traveler and you have extra time, then watch a few previous issues.